Hello everyone, welcome to the stream. Tonight we will cover positional sacrifice. I don't plan to make a long stream, but if you have any request, for example, game analysis or maybe to play against me, I'll try to indulge. I'll try to fulfill your request. But for now, the topic of this stream will be positional sacrifice. It would be a good thing to explain first what a positional sacrifice is. So let's start from there. In chess, there are two types of sacrifices. There is a temporary sacrifice and a permanent sacrifice. When we say sacrifice, we mean uh, uh, sacrificing a piece that is statically of higher value for an opponent's piece of a lesser value. For example, if we exchange our rook for opponent's bishop, we sacrifice an exchange. That's a sacrifice. If we sacrifice the queen for opponent's pawn, that is a sacrifice. So, in general, sacrifice is an exchange of our piece for opponent's piece of lesser value. Temporary sacrifices are called tactics because we only temporarily sacrifice material. We will gain the sacrificed material back in a couple of moves, or maybe even gain more than we sacrifice. That's temporary sacrifice. The topic of this stream is a positional sacrifice, and positional sacrifice is a permanent sacrifice, where we permanently sacrifice our piece for the opponent's less valuable piece statically, meaning that we sacrifice rook for the knight or something similar. In general, rook is more worth than the knight, but we gain other advantages in return that are also permanent or will be present on the board long enough for us to exploit those to achieve advantage, or sometimes simply to maintain equality. Without further ado, we have enough knowledge now to start exploring what is a positional sacrifice. Let us start by figuring out what it is exactly, and we can do this best with practical example rather than talking theoretically for a long time. So here we have a small example that I used to got from my trainer while I was training briefly, very briefly. He gave us this position and he asked us to evaluate it, and if any side wins, to demonstrate the path towards victory. Or if we evaluate it as a draw, to demonstrate why it is a draw. Now, since we were all weak players, we were starting out, we all went for this line. Knight d4, hitting the bishop and this pawn. But our trainer took the opposite side from the one we chose. So if we would say white wins, he would say, okay, it's okay. But I'll play the other side. I'll play black, and I will try to defend. And you need to demonstrate how you win. So he would play bishop d7, king f4, king f6, and all of us were happy because we hoped that the black will be in Zugzwang and that we will win this weak pawn on f5. But with f3, now we put black in Zugzwang, and we thought that after we get the f5 pawn, that we win the game. Bishop c8, c6, takes, and king e6 was the move we overlooked. It looks like white gets the pawn, but now an intermediate move keeps black in the game, and that's bishop d7. And this bishop will have, this diagonal to operate and hold back the f fast pawn. So when this pawn starts moving and things get close enough for it to queen, our black bishop will sacrifice itself for this pawn. Meanwhile, black king will gobble up the white pawns and start pushing his passed pawns towards queening. So this is a draw, and you can use engine to confirm this. We will not analyze in depth that line in order to preserve time to see other positions that I have prepared. So knight g7, I'll just king c4, and it will be a draw because bishop has this diagonal to operate. He will also have this rerouting at a convenient moment to also control this square where white f-pawn would like to step onto before it promotes. So bishop will sacrifice itself for the f-pawn, and it's a draw. So we were naturally disappointed. We immediately said, oh my god, what a great study, it's a draw, and so on. And our trainer said, no, you win. So it's time for a lesson. And this is what he showed us. Instead of in the starting position, we see that black bishop hits the knight. So we were all materialistically oriented, and we wanted to save this knight from being captured because we thought we will lose the game. But white has a small combination that actually gives him a decisive advantage, and that's c6. Now we cannot take because after this move, bishop cannot catch catch this pawn because the promotion square is black and this is a white bishop. So black must take, and now we have knight c5, and this is an example of positional sacrifice. White permanently sacrificed material. This time he gave up a pawn for nothing. Again, pawn is more than nothing, so he gave up more than black. He exchanged the pawn for nothing, but he has a good grip on the c5 square, and with this transformation of pawn structure, this pawn is actually weak. And with this strong square for the knight, bishop will be tied to the defense of this weak a6 pawn. These are the things that you get for sacrificing a pawn, and it is called compensation. So when we sacrifice, especially with positional sacrifices, permanent sacrifice, we must take carefully into account what do we get in return and can we use it? How can we use those trumps, those benefits that we get? And here, after this move, if white would be able to take this pawn, he would have a protected pass pawn and he would restore material balance. And bishop would not be able to stop this a pawn because on bishop c8, after knight takes on a6, knight would go back to c5, again to c5, and this bishop from this square cannot stand here to prevent the a6 pawn from winning because this square b7 is taken by the knight. So black would lose the bishop. Therefore, after a6, black would have to at some point sacrifice the bishop for the pawn, and again white would win. So since the bishop is under attack, black plays bishop c8. And now this bishop is forever pinned to the defense of this a6 pawn. So for a cost of a pawn, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, white got following trumps. This bishop is forever locked on c8. Pawn from b7 is now on c6, and it is blocked by the knight. This pawn capture created a weakness on a6, and we still have this pawn that is weak because it is on the same square as the bishop. Now our king will also be active, and we just need to use Zugzwang to force enemy king to let us penetrate its camp and win this pawn. So after this move, f3 brings black into Zugzwang because now black needs to make a move. This bishop cannot move because it must protect this weakness, and if black moves the king, for example, here, we have this move, and this square must be protected by all costs, and we don't see how black would defend. On king f7, we still march in. King e7 is much more resilient, but now we have f4. And again we bring black into Zugzwang because black must move, and again bishop may not move because bishop must protect this weak pawn, and no other piece in black's army can move. All the pawns are blocked, so that only leaves the king to play, and since this square is taken by the knight, this one by the king, the only move black has at his disposal is king d8, but now our king enters the position. Again, black is in Zugzwang. White will take this pawn, play on b6, take on a6, after which this pawn marches towards the winning square, and black will have to sacrifice the bishop for that pawn, and white easily wins. So let's go again through that position. Let's revise revise what we stated so far. We play, instead of 94, we play c6, a small tactical strike that is aimed at liberating c5 square for the knight and changing the pawn structure to make this a pawn a weakness. Now also we hit the bishop and we paralyze it on c8. And now we claim that although we have a pawn less, the other characteristics of the position give us enough compensation for that pawn. And indeed, bishop is passive. We have a weakness that we attack. Our king will penetrate into the black camp with decisive result because we have Zugzwang with f3 at our disposal. Simple example, there is no need to go into more depth. So let us move to another example that illustrates this concept. This is an extract from the game Pilnik Geller. It is a famous uh, game used in many manuals, in many chess manuals, to illustrate a positional sacrifice. And it was shown to us also by a trainer at some point when we became strong enough to understand. And here is the deal. Black played e4, and white hoped for bishop f6, queen f6, take on e4, and now this pawn, pardon, I apologize, this pawn cannot take back here because it will drop to the rook. But Geller had something else in mind. Geller played f4, and now this bishop is actually weak because it hits the wall of its own pawns. And it cannot go here and there because there is another pawn that blocks it. Furthermore, black sacrificed the pawn permanently but got this wonderful square for the knight. Third, black has pawn majority on the king side. 3 falls to the white's 2, so black can create a passed pawn, and that might queen. Fourth, because of this pawn majority, black has a dangerous attack on the white king. So these are the benefits that we get from sacrificing the pawn. As we said, the only flaw, the only downfall, the only problem that we have is that we are a pawn down. But this extra pawn will be blocked by the knight on e5, and apart from that, white has no other trump. Hi, Radioactive. No, I haven't played Radioactive lately on chess.com. I'm going through the rough period at work, so I didn't have the strength to cope with the stress and play the games. That's why I'm making this stream about positional sacrifice. I need to make a little break before I stabilize at work. Things are not going well there. Maybe if I feel better after this lesson, I might play a couple of games. We can play if you want, but just give me time. Let me do justice to this lesson. Since I promised, 25:45. Man, congratulations! It's not 7 days yet, if I recall correctly, which means you might be within 2600 goal to set for yourself, and that's impressive. Good luck. That's all I can say. You're a better player than I am, so I don't think there is anything I can do to help you. All I can do is cheer for you at this moment. I hope that my emotional support means anything to you. Okay, back to the game. Where was I? F4, we explained the benefits of the move, and now white has no counterplay. This pawn is weak, but is protected by the rook, and currently this bishop is badly placed, so he doesn't participate in defense on the king side. So technically, white will have 3 good defenders versus 3 attackers. So again, black has advantage. And take into account that rook can reach any part of the board in one move because it is a long-ranged piece. So black will at some point play rook f7 and simply sacrifice this weak pawn by playing rook a f8 or somewhere maybe on g8. and simply checkmate. So this rook will defend the pawn as long as it is necessary, and then this pawn will be sacrificed because it bears no influence on the king side play, nor its capture will help white to generate counterplay in time. So white started to organize the defense because white figured out that there will be no counterplay for him. He just cannot create any counterplay on time. Black is too fast. Knight e5. Black follows up with his idea, and this knight is now so strong. The best piece on the board. Rook f8, king, queen h4. We want to put the queen on an active square. Once our g-pawn starts marching, we want to have the queen available to attack. We have also some knight g4 ideas, so queen is well posted here. Knight bishop d1 doesn't achieve much because you cannot play queen g4 to exchange queens because g4 is controlled by the knight. Let's see what else. Rook f7, queen c2. Okay, white is practically busted here. He has no counterplay, and he just waits for the execution. Rook f8, there you go. Black decided that it's time to bring all the forces into attack, and black has like g4, g3, two moves before he makes a decisive breakthrough. Meanwhile, after knight bishop takes h4, bishop will have to move somewhere, and we have h4, h5, h6. It's just too many moves before you become dangerous, before you threaten something important on the queen side, and even then these two rooks are long-range pieces. They're elastically placed to defend, to keep that passed pawn in check, and to also attack on the on the f file. So black decided that it is time to bring the last inactive piece into the attack and simply crashes through. White is defenseless. White saw a tactic here, but miscalculated. He was hoping for this g3 fork. Knight f3, king f2 is the only move because on this move we have queen h3, and when king moves, rook will drop somewhere. Let's see what else. On this move, pardon, queen g3, and now we attack the king and the bishop, so it's a double attack. If king moves, we will have rook f3 with basic elementary victory. If bishop moves, well, we simply exchange queens and play a winning endgame. It's the simplest way. Black doesn't have to go along that route, but to me it looks simple enough. King f2, queen h3, now g3, and white hoped for king f2, thinking that he will block the strong passed pawn and win the game, but after queen h2, white cannot stop discovered check and a pawn promotion, and he resigned. Again, I took this position from the most important moment. I did not want to swamp the viewers with irrelevant moves. The point is that black sacrificed e-pawn in order to clear this square and create a pawn majority on the king side that will help him create a decisive mating attack. This bishop will be weak, white will lack counterplay, and all these benefits that we get as black are worth a pawn. Let's see another example. This was played, white was Ligoric, former Yugoslavian player, champion, and this game was played in Benoni. I cannot recall the entire game, but this is the position that got carved into my brain, into my memory. So, and it is good enough to illustrate the point of the positional sacrifice. Again, we sacrifice material that is of higher value for the less valuable opponent's piece statically, because in general, rook is stronger than the knight. But we gain other benefits in return, and those benefits compensate the material deficit we uh, will have. In this position, white played rook c5, and although white has an exchange is an exchange down, uh, white claims that his central pawn mass and a weakened king, because these squares are really weak around him, will be good enough for him to claim compensation or even winning advantage. White is left with the active pieces. They are all good, and white's king will be secure. So black, on the other hand, his only counterplay is to play something like this to create a threat of a passed pawn. Black has no central presence. There are no open files for the rooks, so black will need a lot of time to bring the rooks into the game. Something like this might be principled maneuver, but there is no time simply for such a maneuver because white is way faster. His central pawns will start rolling really fast. d6, queen b6, bishop c4, and rook a7. Rook e4 didn't work. Give me a second, because we can play when bishop f7, bishop f7, and on this move, queen d5, both of the rooks are under attack, and we simply win. Okay, in rook e6, we might even play something like maybe rook e1, but I would simply take. I think that I am better here. Maybe I'm imprecise, but you can analyze this position with the engine. It is really winning for white. No, it isn't. Okay, I made a mistake. Sorry. 25, yeah, 25 wins. Okay, I apologize. I'm slightly tired and I lost concentration, but we fixed my mistake by pointing out the strongest move. So rook e4 doesn't work. Rook a7, e5, and now all of these pawns are connected and protected. Black is weak on this diagonal. His pawn majority is not fast enough to start rolling. White has moves like rook c3 and, for example, rook g3 is the disposal. Playing f5, maybe even f6, pardon, f5, f6, and queen h6, attacking on the dark squares, and black's rooks will still be restricted by these central pawns, and the bishop will play a good role, because after f5 we can even take here and play something like this and take on g6, because this pawn will be pinned to this bishop, so it will not be able to recapture. Black has no counterplay. It's just a sitting duck now. He tries to play a5 because it's the only thing he has in this position to try to create a passed pawn and get some piece for it, or simply paralyze white's rook. But it's simply too late because white's counterplay is much stronger. We see that he threatens to queen the pawn, and on this move, also notice that d7 broke the protection of f7 with this a7 rook. So black was forced to defend. Rook d1, we now threaten d8, and black will lose a piece because on d8, queen takes, rook takes, and our rook takes with the check. We are left with the rook and the bishop versus rook. So black needs to defend. He returns the rook defense, but now e6, f e6, breakthrough decides because of this nice queen a5 move. Black cannot defend the e6 square, and after this bishop takes, king will be too weak on these diagonals and will so quickly collapse. Rook d6, another nice move, cutting off the defense of the e6 pawn by the queen. And now all the white pieces are participating in the attack, while black's pieces are simply passive. The only good piece is the queen, but she cannot fight entire army on herself, even though she is the most powerful piece on the board, in chess. Queen c7, takes, deflection, sacrifice, bishop c4, and checkmate. Again, the point was to show you that positional sacrifice is a permanent sacrifice of material, where the side that sacrifices hopes to use the benefits that are not material but dynamic in nature to compensate for the material deficit and obtain compensation, whether it is a winning advantage or simply enough compensation to maintain equality. It depends from position to position. This was a position that was given to me by a co-worker in one of my former companies. He was also a strong chess player, and I talked about a certain line of the French defense. Actually, it was the advanced variation, and I had problems with that line as white, and we talked about it, and he told me that there is a game that I should check. And when I saw this position for the first time, I said to myself, okay, I'll play rook f8. And that's a good move because it puts pressure on this knight. And I thought that white may play the move played in the game, king g3, step away from the pin, and simply to play something like, I don't know, maybe bishop c3, for example, hoping for black to be reckless enough to exchange so we can bolster the d4 weakness, because this pawn is weak. It is under tremendous pressure from these two knights. And that's it. But he showed me a move that really stunned me. And this is truly a grandmaster move. Rook f3. I mean, astonishing move. Giving up the only rook in the position. But black uses this knight to attack the bishop with tempo to claim white's center pawns. e5 will fall soon, and claims that these two passed pawns are stronger than the rook. And black is also having better coordination of his pieces because of all his pieces standing on good squares. Meanwhile, This e3 knight is misplaced. He has no squares to go. He cannot go forward. This bishop is bad because he cannot attack anything in white's camp because everything is on the white squares and this is a dark square bishop. Also, most of the pawns in white camp are on the dark squares. So they hinder the bishop because they take away the squares where this bishop could go. And with the last move, black attacks the bishop, gaining time to reposition his pieces to better squares. On bishop c3, we can play d4, winning the piece. That is why bishop couldn't defend this weak pawn. Knight e5, and now for a rook, black has extra knight and two pawns, right? And now he is dynamically equal, but that's only a material-wise comparison. Dynamically, black is much better. He actually wins this game. He has a winning position because black has tremendous play in the center of the board, as we have mentioned. Meanwhile, white has no counterplay. He has nothing to attack because black has no weaknesses in this game. And the game continued like this. And I forgot the rest of the game, but you can play it with a computer. We can analyze it. This is a position that I saved to play as a training game. Maybe I'll find sparring partner on chess. Maybe I'll play it against computer when I get more time. But you can play it through first with the computer to see the best defense. For example, he can play with the pawn, with the king, pardon, king d6. This is a basic endgame principle where we simply improve the position of the king because king is very strong in the endgame when there are no mating threats to hinder him from acting. And white already has no counterplay. For example, king d5, d2. Do I really need h6? Yeah, I need because he will play h6 himself, sacrificing the pawn to shaking this nice position. Okay, we see how, objectively speaking, black's pieces simply restrict the white pieces. Knight c5, preparing d4. Maybe something like this, but there is always tactics. We have the queen, and after this, it's easy. So you don't have to go through the rest of the game. You can analyze this yourselves. The point is for all these examples to illustrate the concept of giving away material permanently, but gaining dynamic compensation and using it to maintain the balance or simply win the game. King g3, again, important move that gets tempo for black to gain the e5 pawn, and after this, use this game as a practice. Use this position as a practice position to try to win with black. Threatening to fork both the bishop and the knight. And after this move, he simply wins. Black wins. Another example of positional sacrifice is also good is this game played by Topalov versus Efimov. And we can go through the game. Again, we will not analyze the game in depth. After the sacrifice, you can do this on your own with the game. So on the internet, there are many coverages, many people covered this game. But the point is to uh, illustrate the positional sacrifice, sacrificing material permanently and using the other benefits to our advantage to keep the compensation, to maintain equality or to simply gain decisive advantage. Standard opening, nothing special for now, and now this move is something that stunned many people, including me. C5. So Topalo fixes this 7 weakness and takes control of the dark squares. Bishop b2, trapping the rook, claiming that he has tremendous attack on the dark squares. We have bishop pair. So he is also better developed because he has 4 pieces developed while black has none. So even if black plays knight f6, well, knight f6 actually doesn't work because I have the knight is pinned to the queen. So in the game, pardon, it was played f6 played, and now Topalov played knight c4, and he attacks on the dark squares because he will play knight d6 next, checking the king, thus depriving it of the castling right. Also, black has nowhere to castle because neither king side nor queen side is particularly safe. They both have pawn weaknesses. a5, nice idea to play bishop a6 and exchange this active knight for this active knight, somehow reducing white's pressure. But Topalov doesn't allow it. He plays knight d6, king f8, and now some ideas with bishop h6 are looming. There is something like this. White has dangerous attack because this piece is simply horrible. Even on bishop h6, we might play something like bishop c2 at some point, or maybe even taking castle and simply play f4 and opening up the position. Follow castles, bishop h6 takes, and it doesn't really matter that we are rook down because this rook doesn't play and this knight doesn't play. So, and this queen doesn't play. Meanwhile, our entire army is participating in the attack. We just need to play f4 and all of our pieces will play. Black's dark squares are horrible and his material advantage doesn't help because he needs open files for this rook in order to enter the game. And even if we gave him the open file, white has no weaknesses. Hey Dabirfa, welcome to the stream. Let's see what else happened in the game. h5, rook f3. Topalov simply attacks everywhere, everything. f5, nice move to open up the game. Black is under a choice now. He needs to take somehow, but either way, f6 is fixed, and on if he takes twice, then 5 white king will be already white king pardon is defenseless, but with knight f5, white wins even quicker. Queen a5. Hello Jonathan, how are you? Queen a5. Black tries to make some counterplay, but after queen c1 defending this pawn, he is too late because he has only one attack, but everything else sleeps on its starting square. Rook b8, trying to finish development. He needs to enter to introduce his pieces into play. Beginning to reposition, like to see bishop c3, Rook g3, this is now under attack. Probably g5, now king, queen e8, queen e2, pardon. Queen e2, bishop d2, knight e7, h3, and he just takes the material back with a tremendous position. There is simply no way defending this with so many pieces not being developed. Paolo simply maneuvers exemplary, and this is simply a display of grandmaster technique, super grandmaster technique. Both of these pieces are attacked by the rook, and black resigned because there is nowhere to save the game. So again, we saw how white was not afraid to sacrifice the rook because he correctly evaluated that these weak dark squares and a better development are more worthy than the rook, and that will have enough time due to superior development to attack first, which proved to be true. This is the last example I had to show. If you have any questions, if there is anybody in the chat, feel free to ask. We can go through the games again. I will make a break by simply staying silent for a few moments and waiting for you to ask some questions, because I'm slightly tired and I need to recover my strength. After that, if I feel up to it, I will play some games on chess.com. So, if you have any questions, go ahead. Okay, no questions. Well, is there anything else you can suggest that we cover in subsequent streams? For example, we see the positional sacrifice. You might rewatch later. But what else would you like to see? I'm still working on the weak squares and pawn moves. It's hard to find material. What else can we make? I'm trying to find some exemplary games for the bishop pair. It's something that is very useful to have in your arsenal, because when you play against an equally strong opponent, endgame usually ensures you end up in an endgame, and then having two bishops really matters, really can make a difference. I don't know what else can you do. Big squares. Okay, I have a couple of ideas more. Okay. Fundaments of attack. Fundaments of attack. Okay, let me make a sticky note out of this. Desktop. Okay. Okay, noted. No, the verify here. Note this as well, and I will work on that. Interesting topic, and a tough one. When to attack and when to the fundamentals of attack. Interesting topic. I will try to cover that. Maybe we'll go through some games. Knucklebreaker, thank you for the follow. Thank you for the follow. Defense, also a good topic and a hard one, because yeah, these are good topics, especially defense, because when you defend, you need to know endgames well. That's something that you can see in Grandmaster games against, for example, Intermasters. I had that luck to witness how Grandmasters played, counter-attack and defense. I had the luck to witness how Grandmaster played Blitz against Intermaster. And sadly, you cannot write down Blitz games, they're too fast. But I will never forget it when I asked him, how could you save so many games? Because this Intermaster was really tactically gifted. He was really working hard on tactics. And this Grandmaster was old. He was rusty. He played, but he wasn't in his prime anymore. But no matter how much this Intermaster put pressure on him, this guy would simply defend. Somehow he would wriggle out. And when you put position, if we memorized some positions, me and my friends, when we put it in the engine and when we looked at it, he was still seriously worse. But he was lost before that. I mean, nearly lost. And he defended. And one day, since this is a place where people gather to play chess, we would see him again and we would ask him, hey man, how come you defended, how did you defend all those positions? You were lost. We thought you would be crushed. And he told us that a good defender is the one who knows endgames, who plays them well, and who has a vast knowledge of different endgames. Because there is a tip also that he gave us, and I will never forget that tip. If you have to choose between a patient defense or a slightly worse endgame, always choose to play a worse endgame. Never ever defend a worse position with queens on the board and many pieces. Always choose a slightly worse endgame where you have counterplay. Because in the endgame, everything matters and they are very slippery. You can easily end up drawing something for the drawing something that is actually won. Yeah, actually, the art of trade is not a bad topic, Davirfa. I think we can, yeah, let me write it down. That's something I could do for it's useful for everybody, for all levels. And actually can help a lot to everybody, to players of all levels. Yeah, nice topic. And nice suggestion. Thank you so much for the constructive suggestions. So that's one of the those were some advices that I shared with you. And let's see, what time is it? Well, I could play a couple of games on chess.com. Since I don't think anybody will show up. Give me a second. Browse. Yes. Yeah, Hikaru is streaming. Botes. There will be too many. Mamejarov, yeah, there are too many people who will watch them instead of us. So, okay. I doubt there will be any other questions. So let's play a few games. Let's relax and see how many games I will lose without becoming tilted. This message. We have detected that one or more of your recent opponents has violated our fair play policy. As compensation for potentially unfair rating losses, we adjusted your following ratings. Wow, I have an extra rating point. You know, as you can see, a third message I have received so far. And let me tell you something. I start to become inclined to trust Jonathan's assessments about people. I mean, 3 times in a row means that so many of them cheated. The suspicious guy. I would really love him to play well, but maybe he is one of those who are probably banned. I mean, he's the only one who played top engine moves. Couple of others also. Not as strong as he did. And seeing all these messages, I think that with a heavy heart, I'm still hoping that that's not true, but maybe Jonathan was right. The heavy heart, I must say that because he was the one who played the strongest. I played a couple of games on chess.com and I analyzed many of them. His level of play was the strongest, and if I received 3 messages about fair play being violated, then sadly the suspicious guy I fear was probably one of them. I hope that's not true. I really do, but just saying. Maybe Jonathan was right. Okay, enough pondering. Let's play some chess. Let's have some fun. The suspicious guy. Okay, let's try with the Scandinavian. It's a simple opening with a simple idea. C3, E5. We hit the D4 immediately. Bishop G4. I forgot how to play this line, but I'll try. This. Okay, if I castle, do I threaten? Yes, I do. Okay, I gave up the bishop pair, but now I need to make fast action. Somewhere, somehow. If I give him enough play. What can I get there? Rook E5, bishop D4. What happens if I play this move? He has... Okay, time to think. Queen E4, bishop D3. I have intermediate move. Bishop takes E3, he takes B1. Bishop E2. he can take the rook, I can take the rook. If he takes here, I cannot take on c4. And I cannot take Desperado because he has bishop e6 and he stays with an extra piece. But queen e4, bishop d3, takes, and bishop c6, I take on here, he takes there, he f3, and actually I take the d4, nobody that I know of, but I received three, nobody, but we just have suspicions. Okay, what time is it? Here 8 minutes. Time to slightly speed things up. So I get the pawn, and okay, I'll go for it. Queen e4, bishop e3. Take, with the queen, rook d4. Take, I don't take. I cannot take like this because I take on e2. I will. I didn't know this. Okay, take on d4. We take on d4 the pawn, and hopefully I haven't miscalculated, because on knight d4 we take on e2. He cannot take back with the knight because his queen will drop, so he will have to, yeah, take. He needs to take back with the queen, and then we play rook d4. He cannot take back with the bishop because his queen falls, and we have an extra pawn. Maybe even c3, c4 pawn falls. What can we do now? We play still remains. I don't care if he b6. Should I take? After that, but he has queen a6. No, I'll take it like this. Let me see. He may not take pawn. Take, but he has the f7. Alright, we'll take with the queen, hoping for fe, rook e4. Okay, after rook e4, we need to see what will he play next. Okay, but what if I take here? Take, and after this move, what do you play? I will play the intermediate move. Queen g4. Okay. Can I defend somehow? f5, queen f5. No, I cannot. Alright. Before we continue, let's see. Game history. Archive. Radioactive. How can we check this? Maybe you share us the game's history, how to check this. I don't think there is red symbol next to pop. Closed, fair play. It's that Chinese I am, I know. Timo, oh my god. Yo, National Master, no. And this guy, too. Wow, so many. Well done, thank you, Radioactive. So it wasn't the suspicious guy. Okay, so maybe he still didn't cheat. The hope stays alive. Okay, it's okay. We can see we can analyze, but I forgot how to play this line, and this line is actually very, very sharp. I think that, that this e4 wasn't good. Yeah, e4. e4 was much better. But I like this. The mistake, yeah, you take. And play, yeah, this was the move. Very hard for me to play. I really don't like to part with bishops. Pardon, what is this? Queen c4, bishop takes c6. But now he's okay. Yeah, it's this move. And I knew that castle long is suspicious, but I like the move and I didn't know what to play. So here already he has small advantage. Queen a5. Actually, this is a nice move. Okay, again parting with the bishops. So already here he is better. Okay, e5. Knight e4 wasn't bad. Okay, knight a6, e4, e4, bishop, knight, knight, take, e5, knight e5, and what to play here. This was a critical moment. That's why I should have played knight g4, so he didn't. Where is the bishop c8? Sarcasm. I don't see the bishop c8 move. Don't follow what you ask, Jonathan. Bishop c8 where? Beginning. You don't have bishop c8 anyway. Stop me when we reach the point. It's okay. It's okay. No need to apologize. Okay. e5. And yeah, knight g4. I like knight g4 in this position. I played knight e5, but this c6 gives him a lot of chances. Again, a good move. b7. Queen. Okay, this was a mistake. Logic. Rook b4. I played this, and now he has rook e3 blunders. Yeah. Queen c6 folds, but he has a lot of chances. Okay, we saw where we made a mistake. Never mind. No need to cry. It's okay. So, yes, I will do. Send me the link. Actually, give me a second. Play, archive. Where are you? No, I had. Oh, we can do it like this. Even better. Wow. Okay. E3. Oh, bishop d2. Okay. Slightly passive for my taste, but still playable. Knight d7. Why not bishop g4? In these positions, you play bishop g4. Let's see. Like this. e6. No, I don't like e6. I think you play bishop g4 here. According to theory, but never mind. Okay, bishop e6 is packing the same old game. Castle, castle. Hmm. You know what they do with this knight? They instead of on g3, they play this somehow, a5, and you know what they do? They put this knight here, then this in b4 on b4, and with the knight on b4 and pawn on a5, this is a permanent weakness, and it's really annoying to meet. Yes, our friend plays really well. I'm proud that I was able to play against him a couple of times. Well, look, that's also skill. You didn't make a mistake. Okay, so far nothing. A5, E4. Wow, not afraid of the isolated pawn. Okay, but you're shaking up his position of the knight on C4. Okay, has its merits. Take B4. You really have to play these moves. Why is he better? Why does engine oh, you blunder the pawn. Okay, bishop d3. What can you do here? What kind of trick can be played? This, wow, giving up the bishop for this knight. But that knight is only optically pretty. He doesn't threaten anything yet. I don't know what to play here. Okay, at this point he is a clear extra pawn up, so whatever you play doesn't matter, he is just standing well. It's okay, we just talk, we see. Want to learn? No, you need to teach me, my friend. You are the one who defeated me markedly so many times. There is nothing you can learn from me. Let's see. Okay, queen e7, rook d8, push 3, so nice. Queen d5. Okay, wait a second. Wait a second. If we keep all the pieces on the board, how will he queen with this guy? So this queen is much better. It's good. Good posted. This one is strong. This one is good, but this one is horrible. Meanwhile, my knight is simply tied to defense, but it is a better piece. And this guy needs to get activated. So let's see. What happens if he does have this file at some point? What can I do? What can I do here? How do I swindle? How do I swindle here? Queen and knight are better than queen and bishop. We know that. that combo is better, but I play rook a6. I'm looking for a human plan, for something practical, because engine will give you something, whatever. Yeah, I'm looking for this move, and then play rook b6 to put pressure on this b pawn to stop it from moving, and maybe even playing rook b8, so I can play queen and knight against the stupid bishop and the queen. Let's give it a look. He's winning. Rook c8. He has rook d6. Okay, there is nothing. Okay, he has a clear extra pawn, whatever. Let's see how the game went. You cannot generate counterplay here because this bishop, although stupid, protects this weakness and is an extra pawn up, and he has enough long-range pieces to start escorting it queen. And this knight is not bad, but he won't join the fight any soon because this pawn is horribly weak. You could somehow remove these pawns from the board, you would have a good chance of defending because you would have no weaknesses. But again, this bishop, although stupid, defends this f7. That's the whole point of your attack, the whole point in the position. So queen d6, you took, and rook e8. Okay, this is nice. Rook b8, f6. Okay, what to do now? Rook b7. Oh, okay, you can check. G4. 58 seconds. Wait a second. Well, okay, you have practical chance. He has 58 seconds. You just need to keep this pawn from moving, and you're fine. d5. Nice tactical shot. Very, very nice. Now you're better. So he blundered d5, h4. Time is also a factor. Time is also. Yeah, he blundered. No, he resigned because he had 8 seconds. No. Okay, 4. He had 8 seconds. Yeah. You know, flanking is a part of the game too. But this bishop d2, why would you play that? I mean, why not play something like this? Or even, let's see. I don't want to play knight f3 yet. Okay, let's go with your plan. b5. Why not c5? I know that this is a theoretical move. c5, you play a3, and then knight e2 and knight b4. I remember this maneuver. It's okay, you just talk. I remember this idea. Remember this. It might help you. It might be useful. This knight goes, let's use a different color here, and then knight goes to b4. So you want this knight on b4 to put pressure on these pawns. I remember this idea from some book on the Chebanenko Slav. I cannot remember which book was it, but really interesting idea. Putting the knight on b4 and putting pressure at some point. I would play c5, for example. And he played. Okay, you took knight f3. He didn't well. He should play bishop on g4. That's what is played here. Why not bishop g4? Why am I standing badly? a4 doesn't work. What does he have here? What kind of refutation? Let's give engine a little bit of time, because I don't think he has anything. Yeah, bishop g4 is way more active. 97, I exploit this. Queen b3, I like the move. b6, he has b4. Okay, slight inaccuracy. 92. 92. Okay, 92, 87. Knight g3. Do you really need knight g3? I mean, what does that knight do? What is his purpose on g3? Yeah, Slav is slightly risky, but it doesn't matter. Knight to g3. What do I plan with knight g3? What is this knight doing here? Okay, knight g3 controls e4. I'm not positioned well to open up the game yet, nor can I attack on the king side because my queen is here. So I don't like knight g3. I don't see the deeper purpose of the move. I don't see how to fit it into some long-term plan. To put knight g3, where do we go next? What is the knight going to do? What is his purpose? Cannot go to h5 yet. I have no attack at the moment. Might play queen c2 at some point, but objectively my pieces drive mostly towards the queen side. Why not simply castle and play rook fc8 with a4 and saying, okay, it's maybe equal, but I'm finishing my development. I'm slightly faster than you, and I'm putting pressure on b pawn. Yes, on b pawn. Even if he does pass to play a5 and you're better developed, you might castle and say, look, knight c1, knight a2, attacking on b4, and knight e1, knight c2. So this one would go here, and that one would go here, attacking the b4. b5, and I can say, okay, I will have 1, 2, 3, 4 attackers. Just a thought. Because I don't see any role. Yeah, you keep the center, that's for sure, and you defend. Yeah, everything is logical. Everything you said stands. I just don't see the deeper role for the knight. Just don't see what else this knight will do. And but okay, it's a slow game, so he can always reroute if need be. Nice, knight b6. Engine suggests a3. I don't. Yeah, it crossed my mind, but I didn't want to play it because I cannot. Yeah, there is something that I play in these positions, but I don't know how well it is here. a3 and bishop b4. Played it a lot in French defense for the white bishop, because you will exchange this bad bishop, you have enough coverage of dark squares in your camp. So a3, bishop b4, and this bishop is actually very important for him. Maybe even bishop a5. Just plonk the bishop there, because he won't have d8, and b6 for the knight is taken away. Maybe bishop a5. But that's a waste of tempo. I would play castles. I would play castles. I wouldn't waste any time and would play rook fc8. No problem. You're welcome. I'm learning from this position too. I mean, there are small nuances here, and I like Angel's suggestion of playing a3 and bishop b4 too, because if he takes, you take ab, and you have pressure along the a file, and you will castle and have c file. You will actually have knight c1, knight b3 playing with knight c5, and you will stand really good, because you can play rook a5 and double at some point, and you have the extra b pawn and go to b3 and take away the c4 square for his pieces, while your knight would stand on c5. Okay, we learned something, some new plan today that is really good. a3, bishop b4. Nice. This is really nice, because his knight e4, especially after a3, his knight e4 is actually useless, because you play bishop b4 and he threatens nothing, and cannot avoid the exchange of dark square bishops, and this bishop is really important to him. He needs sick plan. Knight b6. Okay, he'll probably put the knight here. What to play? The engine suggests the same plan of exchanging the dark square bishops. Okay, but I don't like to see this knight here. Okay, wait, whose move is this? Wait a second. This is how the game went. Oh, you played this? Wow, I'm impressed. This is really good. Well done. Well done, sir. Tip of the hat for you. Bishop d7, you exchange. Maybe you can hold the tension a little bit more, but there is no need for it. Okay, rook fc8. And now you just need to kick the knight. And queen a2 is really good. The best one. Can you play b3 now? Yeah, b3. Engine suggests the same. Because if b3 he drops the knight here, and now what to play? Engine wants to exchange. Why? b5, b8. Okay, but why did I exchange rooks? Why did I need exchange? Okay, so I play b4, and then, well, since this pawn will be fixed anyway, I would prefer a4. Take away as many squares from white pieces. And I cannot stop this guy being fixed on b3. At least I can take the b5 square from the bishop and take it for myself. Maybe bishop b5 will be relevant itself. What about rook c3? Oh, you have 92. So he doesn't have rook c3 because Knight e2 gets the tempo and improves the position of the knight. So what does he play? Rook, knight fd7, knight fd7. Yeah, he really wants to exchange. Okay, it's a playable position, you just play. Rook c3. Aha, now this guy falls. But I wouldn't play Engine's suggestion, I would play Rook d1 to improve the position of my worst piece. f6, we have knight e2, must work. Go home, Rook c7, and then you contest, and it's equal. Tough game, but sorry, b3. I thought you would play b3 here, radio, because this knight is really good for him. And he plays a4. Really interesting game, yeah. Then you play d4. Okay, he can take. He must take because you threaten the fork. And where to play with the queen? I mean, if he moves the queen to b6, and you take on d5, how does he... Like, what happens on queen b6? Like, if I don't want to exchange. Still have b3. Queen b6, b3, and he drops a knight. Yeah, on queen b6, b3, this knight has nowhere to go but to d6, and you play 5 and you fork the knights. Fork the knights, okay, queen b6 doesn't work. Interesting. Okay, so he needs to take. He needs to take knight. This is good for you because this knight was horrible. This knight was good. He defended the... Okay, but now you have isolated pawn. Radioactive. Have you ever studied these positions for the isolated pawn? Do you know the plans in the positions with the isolated queen pawn? Have you ever studied them? Radioactive. Seems that our friend is sleeping. Or my audio. Okay. I mean, you know the basics. You know that you have to stay in the middle game and attack while he would try to exchange pieces. Of course, okay. That's all I thought. I wanted to know. Yeah. So we need to stay in the middle game and create some attack. And he would like to exchange. Okay, rook a b8, he has to play this. Okay, can I somehow generate an attack? I mean, uh, this knight, look at this. Maybe it might have queen b1 at some point. Let's see. I mean, cannot do anything. Ah, but he has bishop c6 as an idea. I mean, how could I attack here? What can you do to make his life miserable? How can I make his life miserable? No, you don't. You are listening to a patzer. But thank you for the compliment. No, I'm looking here to generate some mating attack. No, something, because I need to attack. I have this isolated pawn, and I don't know what to do. I really like rook c3. I will play rook c3 and hoping to tell him some trap with this in queen b1. Let's go rook c3. a4. You're kidding me. Okay, let's see what you got. After that, how can I swindle this guy? Come on. Has to be something. Some practical chance. Okay, engine says that he is better. Big deal. Okay, fine. You're better. Big deal. Still want to swindle you. I'm contemplating rook d1 and trying on bishop c6. I want to play d5 to see if I can make something work. Queen b1. d5, queen b1. He has g6. No. No, okay. There is no point. At this point, his king is so solid and his pieces are better placed. Our queen is horrible, our rook is horrible. These are good. These are good, but we don't have any coordination. We don't have any weakness to attack. And Jesus Christ, how can we not generate anything as white? Is this really so horrible? He doesn't even have a threat, for God's sake. He doesn't even have a threat. Come on. He has better pieces. I mean, all his pieces put pressure on your position, your soft spots. I mean, and everything is protected from afar by the rooks. So I cannot make any action. This guy is horrible, but he actually even this guy can come to c6 and cut down this diagonal. I mean, Jesus Christ. But I'm not that worse. I mean, okay, my queen kind of sucks, but it's the queen. It's the most mobile piece in the game. If I play queen b1, I'm back in the game. I'm back in business. I just need to make this rook do something useful, and I'm not that worse. I don't know. My gut instinct. Let's analyze. I don't care. g6. Come on. Yeah. And he just kills my entire counterplay because we have no attack on the king. No, no, simply we are worse. Okay, there is no counterplay, so there is no point pursuing this line anymore. I mean, I see no counterplay. If you see something, I'm all in. We can always analyze, but what to analyze? I mean, he just plays g6 and brutally shuts down our entire counterplay. Yeah, let's move elsewhere. I played b4, and this is a risky move because actually blunder the pawn, yeah. Because he can simply take. Now he's a pawn up, and you still have no clear plan of action. You still have nothing to attack. No. I mean, we're in the same problem. Just had a4 in that position that we analyzed a couple of moments ago. I mean, it makes no real difference. We don't have any counterplay here. These two pieces are simply way too just too misplaced. They're too misplaced. And if you play b3, somehow he has knight a3. Jesus Christ. Are you kidding me? He takes, I take, he takes. If I take here, take, rook c1, there's nothing to interpose. So I lose. I don't even have b3. Jesus Christ. I got nothing. No counterplay whatsoever. And he will exchange, play bishop c6 at some point, and everything collapses. He neutralizes everything. Okay. Why this move? Okay, this is imprecise. Why not bc to move the pawn forward and open up more squares for the bishop? And he can play this, or even this, play this guy all the way to the c2, and this bishop can go to g6 or h7. And on c2 he will have queen b1 ideas, sacrifices, the promotion. For a grandmaster, he is surprising me a lot. Queen a7. Okay, at this point he is winning. Minus 2.44. I mean, realistically speaking, he just have a clear extra pawn and long-range pieces. I mean, he will convert this in a slow game, objectively, because this knight cannot participate, and your pieces have nothing to attack because the only weakness will be defended with bishop e8. Okay, we need to move back. So our problem was e4. So e4 doesn't work. So if e4 doesn't work, what about b3? You need to play b3. Here, this is logical. Knight b6. And he wants, Peter says rook c8, but I don't like this move. Why should I give you my good rook? What about queen b2? Not engine's choice, but logical move that, okay, it's equal. Whatever. Ah, but he has a4. That's the threat. He'll get c4 back. Knight e5. Okay, but I play bishop e8. And this is equal. You have nothing. But neither do I. Rook c8, rook c8. This is equal. Okay, a stronger player here will win. But you don't have any advantage. You don't have any advantage here. Let's go back. Let's see if you had anything to try to swindle. I like this maneuver, but here his knight is very good and he has space on the queen side. Maybe it's too late for that maneuver. It's this knight g3 move that doesn't do much. I would castle. Let's say, but he plays b4. That's the strongest. Okay, b4. b4. I'll take the file. What do you play? Castles. A3. His defense was impeccable, Jonathan, indeed, but it wasn't too hard for him to defend. His position is so symmetrical, so simple to play that I think even I could be able to hold this position with either color. That's why it's so hard for us to find counterplay for white that fights for the advantage. Too symmetric. And I don't want to play a3. How do I swindle the guy? What do I play? I have many things to play. No, it's equal. It's equal. Radio is equal because there is no way for us to generate any threats, any play. I mean, yeah, this is just a slugfest, just about maneuvering. So back a couple. Okay, now we can play some. But still it's equal. Okay, rook c1. We can play. What about a6? Kind of sick. What? And knight c7. Wow. Knight c7. If he moves the rook, knight c7, king e7, bishop d4, deadly check. Wow. Okay, so he cannot play 6. But there you go. Rook c8, rook c1. That was your chance. Jesus Christ. Rook c1. Are you kidding me? You know what? He might actually overlook bishop b5 shot. This was the best move to play. Okay, so then what? Bishop b7. Of course, but we just look at the position and we learn a couple of tricks for ourselves for the future. It's still equal. No, there is nothing you can do here. It's just way too solid. I mean, 0.5. No, you're not going to. You might have a small pressure, but we saw that he will simply defend. There is nothing for us. I don't see anything. Sorry, radioactive. I just cannot see anything for white here, nor for black. I think that after the change, I mean, we can stop analyzing this game. There is nothing to analyze. You need to play c5 here, and okay, and you have some space advantage, and this is already covered in some book. This is a theoretical line. After you take on b5 and he puts that exchange pawn structure, there is nothing to. Okay. Okay, I can challenge you and then we can play one 5-minute game. Maybe so you can finish fast and go to sleep. What do you say? There is no point. I mean, I'll work on the opening when I have more time. Right now, I don't. And on this day, you have to go to sleep, and I have to go to sleep soon. So just put 5 minutes time control, and we go. We play. Okay, 10 minutes. Fair enough. Not challenge. No. Interesting position. To say that, but I don't like this knight on d2. Slightly misplaced. 15 seconds. Why? Okay, I played the move. I played a6. There is no need to take. Два, четыре, два. Why blunder? No, they just blunder. Okay. No, I have to take. No choice. Hmm. Bishop d3. Okay, I cannot allow everything. Okay. White is better here. A lot. This pawn majority should sort again. I really think that and bishop there also. So many advantages. On f3, what will I play? Not much. He has bishop g4. Yes. Bishop f3. Okay. Here, there, and where do we play? How do we play? He does have rook d7. But I really need some sort of counterplay. And he wins. Oh, bishop b3. Somebody likes to blunder. He has this move. And that's something I cannot protect. Okay. How do I defend this? Takes, everything falls. Everything. e4 takes the rook. No. This take e3. Literally no way to defend. Okay, well played. Well played. Well played. I guess I blundered somewhere. Or this was the mistake, yeah. Knight b3. Good shot. Yeah, after this move, I think that even the engine will say that I stood poorly. Okay, we have a slight advantage, and here, yeah, a mistake. I was right. b3, b6. Why is this? Aha, b4. Yeah, you have an extra pawn, just take it. Now, e2, a mistake. Rook, the bishop b7, queen e2, and take on f2. Never. I would never see such a move. Okay, because I open up the f file and this bishop and the rook would be too strong. Okay, another mistake. But already here you strategically win. I mean, these pawns roll and this pawn is useless. And he doesn't affect anything. What do I do with him? I'm practically playing a pawn down against the bishop pair. Strategically one game. Yeah, +2. It was over a long time ago. The moment to play, the moment I played d4. It's okay. Okay, thank you for the game, Radio. Sorry again for being such a lousy player. Hopefully I will improve soon, so you don't have to. If you go to sleep, it's okay. Good night. Again, thank you for being with me. Thank you for being with us, and thank you for the game. Bye. Okay, let me play a couple more games. You're kidding. Okay, let's try. You're always welcome, Radio. Thank you for the game. Anytime, anytime. Board layout. Get out, get out, get out, get out. And let's play a couple of more. Couple of, okay, let's play. Give me a second. No problem. Why not? You need every chance to play that you can get. I just need to find you. If this was you, so if I challenge, oh wait, is no unrated? Okay, 10-minute games or how many? 5. Zavirfa, can you tell me? 10. Okay, 10. Well, we can make 10. At least you can play pink. So we should get a challenge. I know I'm rated, but we play unrated game. For God's sake, would you cut me some slack and let me play them in? What unrated? Come on. Custom game open challenges. Why are you so dumb? Why are you so dumb? Oh, this is stupid. This is way better. Yeah, I cannot challenge you because you are lower rated, but you can challenge me regardless. Okay. You learn something new every day. 22, d6. 95 was much. Actually, no, it wasn't. True. But you shouldn't change queens. Never mind. Milano is after it. Enough. Take it. Then you can play e5, but it's much more riskier and you need to know what to do. And I don't know what to do. I forgot that line. That's why I'm playing like a coward. e6. e5 is better move. I'm just a coward at this point because I forgot. Pardon. I forgot all the lines. That's why, Jonathan. We'll take here and play king d7 because we have changed so many pieces. The bishop d6. Hopefully he won't blunder the h7. He didn't. Very nice. h6. Okay. I'm gonna go for a draw. Simply. I'm just a coward. e5 is better. Oh, I'm white. Let's try d4. c3, this is a good move. Good line for our friend. Need to play something. And if he sees queen b6, I'll be bishop g3, knight. Okay, e3, we need to pack this pawn formation, knight d2. Still doesn't play queen b6. Now he does. Or beneficial for him. d4 is playable in this position. A good pawn structure. He can continue developing with knight f6 as well. cd4. We take like this. Well, yeah, but if you wish to become a master, you cannot be a coward. You need to play the lines and you need to prepare. And I didn't mean that in a detrimental way. I am playing safely, but it's a cowardly play. I mean, I should have played d5, prepared the Scandinavian if I'm going to play it anyway. And we can go through the opening after the. Actually, no. We can leave it for another stream. We can put it away for another stream. Because this stream started as positional sacrifice tutorial and ended up playing casual games against everybody. Okay. In b3. Okay. We could have waited a little bit more. Now I have slightly better pawn structure because I can play b4. And on a6, okay, he doesn't care. So I'll just hop in. If I take, how do I stand? What do I get with this move? A weakness on e5 and a square on d4. Okay. I prefer easy life, so there is no need for me to risk. Bishop f4 because on this diagonal, bishop has nothing to do. So we are going to reroute it on this diagonal where it has, look at me, has something smart to do. And our friend is trying to attack on the file. Fair enough. Okay, I need to get back. What to play now? e4, 5. This initiative for him. I have to admit it. Takes on d4, take on d4. But now he has weak pawn on d5. And this pawn blocks the bishop. I prefer he play d4 and f5. I think he had initiative and an advantage. Bishop b6, f3. Here, hitting the bishop. Okay, there is a tactic because his rook is slightly overloaded, and so is his pawn. But the question is, yes, he loses a bishop. This is the correct move already. Take. When he takes with the rook, we grab the bishop. Okay, d5. Passive play. We have a good version of the French defense because we control the d4. Bishop d7. Queen takes. Again, a bad move. He's really misplaying this. Thank you. He got tilted. We can see it right now. He lost patience. He gave his good bishop. He plays behind it. Take. Castles. My knight is misplaced now. My knight is misplaced. And now, where do we go? What to play? Knight h. Okay, rook f8. Because there is nothing for me on the king side, I will have to play on the queen side. This rook is already on the queen side. That one was on f8, so we brought him to the queen side. I apologize. It's been too late tonight. Developing bishop before knight, yes. Rook c8. Now we have a tempo. With this attack, we can improve our knight by going to e7. And now our knight will have wonderful f5 square or c6. We need to decide where to put it. He tries to trap the bishop. Okay, I'll put the pawn on the dark square because I really need to prevent this before. Because I don't want to exchange bishops. His bishop is bad because his pawns are on the dark squares. My bishop is good enough. Okay, and after I play this, what is your plan, young man? What do you plan? C3, simply take again. A3, then I take. He's tilted. He's tilted. I can see it already. He just lost the nerves. Because he stood really well in the last game, and that tactics was really something that really hits you hard. Yeah. Davirfa, honestly speaking, are you tilted? Are you angry? Are you slightly? What is this? He wants to play. No, you're not. Okay. Well, then your concentration is dropping. Okay. It's okay. So why didn't you say so? We can analyze the games afterwards. And I'll tell you exactly what I think about them. C4. Okay, I'll play this. And he cannot play b5 because my knight controls b5 square. On bishop e6, think that the knight g5, yeah, knight g5 can be annoying. But then, yeah, okay, bishop f5. Okay, not a bad move. I'll take on c4. Decent opening play by my opponent so far. e6. They confuse my mind as well. Bishop e7, knight e5. We hit the b7. Maybe nothing special. Okay. I take on b7. I achieve little. So queen a4. We win the knight. This should put some pressure on our friend. Because remember, in the opening we always introduce one piece at a time. We don't grab pawns that easily. Maybe bishop b7 works, but again, I want to play a safe game. Now I need to see if there is anything. b5. Oh. Wow. b5. But what do you achieve with b5, my friend? Okay, take. I mean, it's a fork. I have no choice, I must take. It's annoying move order indeed. It is annoying, but that's all it is. Annoying. But if I take, what will he do? Aha, we have this, and now knight d6 is a threat. So if he plays rook c8, we have knight d6, getting the bishop pair and maintaining the pressure on black. He actually does, okay, this is nice. What can we play? d3. We'll just play simple chess. d3 to restrict this bishop because he hits the wall. d4 is in our control, and this one is protected. Okay, b6. We go here. I might try rook b4, but then I can take on a7 because this square is controlled by the bishop. I cannot chase away my queen. So let us see what could black do here. He has a pawn down. His pieces are cut off on the king side. These pieces are blocked. Queen still doesn't make any threats. This rook cannot do a lot on his own. Queen c8. Nice. Okay, let me play queen. Queen d2. My queen did everything she could. On the queen side, there was no point in keeping her there anymore. She retreats. Knight will go to c4, defending b2, and then this bishop can be developed somewhere. Or maybe, if he doesn't put pressure on the b file, might play bishop e3 immediately. Because rook g4 square is protected by this knight, so he doesn't have knight g4. I will simply exchange. Or yes, he has the bishop. Fair enough. It's very difficult for both of us to find plan. Yes, she is x-rayed by the bishop, but this pawn is safely defended in knight d5. Okay, knight d5. Need to play this move, and on the hop, I will take. I simply take. Knight b4, take. No, there is not a fork yet, but I can take like this and bring this rook into the game. Okay, I misplayed. I misplayed because this bishop will become a force after it goes here. Not. But definitely not simple. Definitely not simple. This bishop is dead. Okay? We are threatening play rook c8. So if I can put his rook into defensive position, for example, if he plays rook b8, I'll be happy. But he does have no, he doesn't. Rook c8. What will he play? d6 drops the piece to e4. Bishop will be trapped. Maybe not f6. Take. Take on e5. Take on e6. Okay. I play this move. I take like this. Fork these two. 2, 4, 6, 2, 4, 6. Okay. If I play like this, I don't have an extra pawn. And that's bad. e4. Now my bishop becomes passive. Okay, let's get the bishop out. Let's get the bishop out of the chain. Here. Okay, this was nice. Now his bishop is good as well. But I still have extra pawn. His king is really good. He could play. Okay, pawn ranking should be good for me. This here. He must play king d4. And he must have some compensation for the pawn. That's the king move. But he will lose the tempest at some point, and I will push him back. No, I'm not gonna take it. I'm gonna pass, because if I had taken, he would play king b4, and then he would penetrate on the queen side. This is much better, because now we control this square, and all these squares are under control, and I can simply move my king. And after this move, he needs to do something. How do I win this? Take. It takes, I'll take, and I have a passed pawn, protected passed pawn, and we have d4 as well. So he will have a problem, h4, to prevent these ideas. Now he will have to sacrifice a pawn, and okay, king d4, because g5, I take with this pawn, and I catch his. How do we play this? Like this. He'll grab the b3 pawn. He loses. He cannot hold. Okay. Just too much. He needs to play king c5, but now I simply He is tilted. Bad move. Now I will get the c5 pawn. This was a bad play. Bad move, because he doesn't have time to close everything up. Yeah, I'm not, but I guess I know a couple of things. This plan is good when the knight is on c6, because if my knight was on c6, he would have b5 tempo, and when knight moves, he would have c6. He would stand really good. Without the knight on c6, he actually doesn't stand well. This plan doesn't work, and now he cannot defend before he needs to play. He drops a pawn. Let's give him. Aha. Knight g4. Take. This. Okay. Castles. Bishop c4. Tempo. What is he thinking? Is he preparing a sacrifice? Bishop b7. Okay. 4 times controls the d5. 1, 2, 3. So he has d5. Ah. And after d5, what do you do? But I'm not obliged to do anything. d5. Okay, this is a typical sacrifice. Typical sacrifice. So our friend needs to make a difficult choice. Probably d5 works. Takes. a3. King B1. He cannot recapture like this. The bishop pins. C4. Now he will probably try to make some counterplay. If d5 takes, and if I take f6, why? Why should I do this? I mean, he's the one who take, 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 and on this move, okay, bishop e3. I don't want to sacrifice anything here. He'll have enough sacrifices later. So he's gonna try 5. Okay, but then where do we go? Bishop c5, c5, take, check, take, knight d5, bishop, takes, does have, take, take, if he moves. Okay, I have to continue with the attack. The show must go on, as they like to say. Knight d7, take, you only live once. I think that this sacrifice works. I really do. No, it doesn't. I just blundered. Okay. Oh no, I didn't. Jesus Christ, I got. Yeah, this is the move, and now he loses because he cannot defend rook h8, queen h8 checkmate. unless he plays f6, but then I take on g6 with the queen, and when he plays king g8, I simply have this move with checkmate. I didn't see queen h6 until I'm getting tired a lot, and yeah, I forgot that I have queen h6 because I calculated that line. Queen h6, and he has then he loses. Hitting the bishop, it takes, I take the bishop. If it takes the bishop, I take, yeah. You're going to play dragon with black. You need to prepare yourself because the opening is unforgiving. The Virfa. You need to practice, you need to prepare that theory. You cannot just sit at the board and play the dragon. This is how the opening is called, Sicilian dragon. So I don't have any theory on that. There are books, how many of them are written, but you need to prepare yourself. Because it's way easier to play this with white. 98 castles. 98 is not the move that is played. It's the same attacking pattern. Where you play h5, take, take, play bishop h6 to exchange the bishop. Then you checkmate. Now he needs to do something. I'll take it. I'll take it. I wouldn't be surprised, Jonathan. No, I'm not gonna change queens because his queen is badly placed. On b6, I will have fork with the knight at some point and get a crucial tempo, maybe to checkmate. He's weak on the dark squares because his bishop is missing. I can open up the position of his king, so that is a bonus for the queens to stay on the board as well. And now he is in dire straits because this knight blocks his pawns, and his pawns therefore cannot open up his bishop. And yeah, okay. This is the last game, Davirfa, that you'll play because I'm tired and I need to go to sleep. So you're playing well now. Don't spoil it. I'll check out those videos, Jonathan, because dragon is very, very hard to play as black. You need to prepare a lot. White has the line. Yes, 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 dragon is really. Yes, it's 1 a.m. Serbia, so after this game I have to go to sleep. I'm losing a lot of energy. I have played the move, Davirfa, it's your move. I have played bishop d7. Don't lose on time. Play. Okay, not a bad move. 97. I'm just saying that you need to prepare that opening Davirfa. And maybe you can check out these videos that Jonathan recommended, because you make it, you just learn the theory of that opening. It is very rewarding because few people will. Let's, I'll bookmark it here so I can watch it tomorrow. Hopefully I will make it tomorrow. Okay, okay, one. I'm going to try to play on the queen side because my king side is blocked. Queen b4. We hit these weaknesses. My queen will go to b6. Queen b3. What happens if I take? Take, 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 or if he takes, I do have an intermediate move. Hope I have calculated everything well, because now if he takes, I take with the queen. Maybe I haven't. Maybe I haven't. Yeah. And after this move, he hits the bishop. But he doesn't have. Okay, I'll have to play this. And then I'll play bishop c6 and move the knight. But he does have again. Does have move with the rook. Oh, is he? Queen b6. Wrong rook. But in this move is bishop a6. Bishop a6 should work for him. And I cannot take. And if I play this, it's okay, I believe you. No problem. Look, it's not a hard move to see. You can find it. Yeah, and after this move, we open up the rook on the a file. He'll retreat the bishop. And now the question is, how will I play? And what? I don't like him allowing me to exchange so many pieces. Takes, king f8. With f4 it is a draw. So let's see if he'll find f4. Hmm. Okay. Who's playing? Him. Is okay. Didn't know that, Jonathan. Interesting to know. Or this will be a tense game. Both sides will win. Hmm. I think this is a suitable end for the evening. Nice game. Really well played. Really well played. I hope you don't mind ending the night on this note. We can play some other time, tomorrow, but I really need to go to sleep. It's 1:30 a.m. here and I'm really tired and I need to get up early tomorrow. So all I can say is Davirf, a nice game, well played, and hopefully I'll catch you tomorrow. Jonathan, thank you for being with us. And interesting game. Thank you everyone who watched the stream. Jonathan, thank you. Now I'm more inclined to believe you that about the suspicious guy. But I guess maybe. Good night, Avirfa. Good night, everyone. Again, thank you for the stream, for watching the stream. See you tomorrow, and I don't know. Tomorrow I'll probably have enough strength to play the game on chess 24. If not, I will prepare some surprise, some other theoretical stream. Well, not theoretical, but tips and tricks that might help you. That's really it. Bye.